Hello, everybody. So, I guess today the Shun residence is doing something crazy right now. I can tell you about it. There's other people probably more well versed about what's going on with the Shun residence right now. But I know, for me, emotionally, the past I don't know, it feels like the past few months, but especially the past few weeks, and more so today, have been really, really tough, tough for me. I don't know how to talk about what I want to talk about, but I'm really trying to step into my truth more and more lately. So here I am. Here's YouTube. Here's me talking into the phone. You know what I mean? I guess a good start would be to talk about what I what I was raised to believe about fate. Not necessarily what to believe in. I never got told what to believe in. I kind of got suggested what I should believe in for sure. But one of my biggest spiritual influences is probably my grandma when I was younger. I remember she used to tell me a lot about holding true to your faith, even when I'd hear referred to like persecution, like persecution. Persevere your faith, never put your faith down for anything. Yeah, real shit. So I hold that pretty close. Um, I'm kind of I'm an Aries. I'm an Aries, so I'm bullheaded about it for sure. So there's that part. I guess now going back to my fast a little bit ago, over like 3.5 years ago, or something. I don't know, some time ago. 40-day fast. It was quite perspective changing for me. Quite the culture shock. Quite the you know. So in this fast, I seen the psychological manifestation of the Ouroboros. That's the snake that forever eats its own tail. like when he came up to me, it felt like it felt like he was trying to make me feel like I wasn't supposed to be there, like he was vibing, like that's the vibe he was vibing at me, and I was like, I don't care, I'm like all the way in a different emotional state from the mushrooms. For real, I can't even process fear right now. I'm just like feeling like a schoolyard bully is coming up to confront me, and my only job is to stand my ground. Big I don't know. There's no really size. There's no scale. It's just size is a thing for the material realm. This wasn't in the material realm, but it did take up my whole eyes, and it was beautiful. It was the most beautiful, vibrant colors that I've ever seen. Like you aren't gonna find them in this place. You just can't find them in this place. It's impossible. But Mush was beautiful. Mush was for sure beautiful. So the fast ended about 3 weeks. About 3 weeks after I left the trailer because I was pretty paranoid about about the things I just witnessed and experienced, and I did not want to leave the trailer. But it came time. It was like my brother was like, "Bro, I understand you're having a hard time right now, but I need help paying for the trailer." And I was like, "Yeah, that makes sense." So, and then weird synchronicity. So I remember it was like an hour or two after I was talking to Nick, because Nick had came home, and then that's when we talked about that. Then a few hours later, Sanjay had called me from All About Furniture and seen if I was looking for work. As a matter of fact, I am looking for work. Only thing is, All About Furniture is in Ann Arbor, and I was living at Battle Creek. I was living in Battle Creek at the time. So that was like, I was like, I don't know, an hour and a half away, depending on traffic. Depending on traffic, about an hour and a half away. And back, that's 3 hours. 3 hours of gas every day. That don't make any sense to me. But one thing that I learned during the fast, like hearing all the voices, there goes you got voices, but it's my internal monologue. By my internal monologue, I can tell what it's saying, like really good. Does that make me a schizophrenic? I don't know, but so I ended up being like, all right, this one makes sense. This is completely what's that word? Not sustainable. Not sustainable. Like if I go work in Ann Arbor, I'm only making $21 an hour. I mean, it's a good amount to make for sure. But when you're driving 3 hours every day, and that's what I was saying to myself. But then my internal monologue was like, "No, don't worry about it. We got it. It'll be good. You'll you know they've taught me to really lean into that part of the Lord. Is it the Lord's Prayer? I believe it's the Lord's Prayer, that part where it's like, today give us this daily bread, or give us this daily bread, or forgive me for not being incredibly well versed with the Bible and stuff. I've studied some spots of it, but there's a whole reason why I've always chosen to not really look at the Bible, which is something that I'd love to talk about later, but right now I forgot what I was even saying. It was oh yeah, me learning to correspond. Sarah, my spiritual wife, with Mush, the sacred serpent that I saw. I learned his name was Mush from the synchronicities led me to finding out Mush's name. So, I think you can punch into Google, Mush Sacred Serpent, uh, Jewish expert. Yeah, dude, Jewish expert, I believe it's called. And it'll show you, and it'll tell you all about Mush. It'll tell you all about Mush. So there's a lot of things why my faith has built the way that it has built. Mainly because I pay attention to the screen. You know, learned it from all the songs you watch in the screen. I know what they're saying. I got it. Watch this. Keep your eyes focused on the screen. It says, let all the hearts up off the leashes. Gave all that money to the rich. They're gonna hand you down now. They short-hand a shovel and direct you directly to the ditch. I just feel them as they watch you. 1,000 eyes now filled with pain. So, there was the EDM concert that I went to. It was me, Sarah, and Sarah's daughter, Simone. So we got to it was in Detroit. It was called Movement. It was part of that movement, or like it's called Movement. I guess they got quite a few activities they do, little activities and things, making dance parties, and, movement. It's a movement. Yeah. So, so when we went into the EDM festival, Sarah took a small corner of an LSD little little LSD tab. I just took like three LSD tabs. Just I don't know, like a lot more than what Sarah had is what I had. So we went into the we went into the music festival, and I mean, I've kind of done a lot of shamanic training, esoteric awareness type things. Like it's always kind of been my life path, even when I haven't really meant for it to be. Like it just can't help it. Like that it's me. It's me. You know. So I forgot what I was saying. Yeah, so we go through. I get to tripping on LSD. It turns super beautiful. um, like I'm looking at all these checkers. These checkers are standing out a lot to me right now, and I'm seeing the "Don't Tread on Me" snake like everywhere. I'm seeing just like my eyes are hyper focusing on every little thing at one time, but it's all happening at one time. It's like just, you know what I'm saying? It's just so wild. So I remember. Um, I was sitting there in the lotus position, and Sarah was sitting next to me, and there was they called it the galaxy chair. It was like a aired up beanbag, aired up beanbag, and she she's got this way of talking when she gets high. And the thing about Sarah, she's super sensitive, and like the way I want to address her right now, like I want to endear her, but the way the things she's done, the things she's doing to me right now, the way that I'm feeling, because as I said in the beginning of the video, I'm very I don't put down my faith for anything, and I've kind of developed awareness at the fact. Well, hold on, before I get ahead of myself, the correlation between Sarah and the Ouroboros was like, so not only did I get this statue from Sarah, and I think I mentioned much to her like one time. I didn't mention much of what he looked like, but this kind of looks like what he looked like a little bit. This kind of looks like he looked like a little bit. So back at the music festival, me and Sarah are sitting there. I'm sitting Lotus. I'm just watching all the colors. There's no chance you're gonna communicate with me at all. I'm just going with the flow. I'm just going with the flow. So I'm watching Sarah have this interaction with There were some people who recognized her from her high school, being her um, being her brother's friends. They rec- they recognized her from high school. So they were talking. They all kind of looked at me, and then Sarah kind of made some noise. I could tell what she said. They all just kind of laughed. I'd imagine she told them that I'm no way, bro. I'm way too high, way too high right now. But I see what Sarah has. Well, rather, okay. What happens is the two dudes who came out, they pull out some psilocybin. They brought some psilocybin to the music festival, and they gave them to Sarah. They kind of left off. Uh, I was looking at Sarah. Sarah looked at me, and she said, "I was gonna save these to home." And I was like, "Oh, hold on now," because I'm thinking. Now I've crossed LSD and psilocybin before, but yeah, I crossed it before. It didn't go very well. But ever since the fast, I was like, the convolution is, it's calling me. The convolution is never wrong. There's a reason for everything. I'm listening to this discernment right now. And discernment is telling me I need to take that psilocybin right now. Obviously, I can articulate this. Way too high to articulate this. I forget the combination of words which I said, but she giggled and she gave me this psilocybin capsule. I think it was like 1.5 grams. So I take this psilocybin, and it makes the high way more beautiful. And but it gets to where I turn around and I can't find Simone. Little did I know that Sarah knew where Simone was, but I didn't. I'm not only that, but I'm way too high to. I almost don't even know where I'm at right now, bro. No, for real. I almost don't know where I'm at. Where is Simone? Yeah, I'm feeling all these people's energies. Not only that, but the spot we're at. It's like concave, right? It's like the whole place was concave, where the EDM music festival was, the fairgrounds or whatnot. It was all concave, and like I mean, I'm a tall person. I'm 6'7". I can usually see people's faces, pretty well. In Walmart, people always ask me to help them out at, Meyer, Kroger, or whatever. But with this fishbowl, with the fishbowl effect on with the concave, it was different. Cause come here, dog. It was different because I could like see everybody's face. Everybody's face at one time. I was in the middle. I was in the middle of the. It was like in the middle of the stage, right? I don't know what to call it, but I was in the middle and I was looking up at everyone. And damn, it just pretty frightening. Yeah, pretty frightening. Like some of my prior indoctrination was kind of burning off at that point, and that came with a lot of fear. Oh man. But so by the end of the trip, and I'd been quoting Bible verses while I was in the middle because I was having really not a good time. I was using the same Bible verses, in fact, that I'd used during the fast when I was having not so good time. I know for sure that one of them is, "I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil." I don't remember the other one, so. But so Simone brings up this picture of Ouroboros. It's a fan, like by the end of it, because I fought. By the way, like when I got Sarah by the hand, I'm following her through the crowd before she leaves me in the middle. Um, like I'm following Sarah, and it's like she keeps repeating, she keeps turning back around at me. I'm like, we need to go, we need to find someone. And that feels like it repeats just like infinity times. It feels like I'm stuck in a loop of constantly that. I'm having a really not good time. So she sits me down in the middle. Well, she goes off and looks for Simone where she believes Simone said she'd be going. Which was true because she showed up like not even not. I don't know. I had no concept at the time, but she showed up a little bit later with Simone, and Simone had this Chinese fan that had a picture with Ouroboros on there. Well, for me, just like how the universe told me to cross LSD and psilocybin to create the or I didn't say this part, but it makes sense to create the certain set of psychological circumstances in which I would have needed to be able to see all these messages that they had to show me. And I'm not even mentioning half of them. I don't know how to mention half of them. It's hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. That's like a rule that's really hard to break that rule. That rule, you almost can't break it. I don't know. I'd bet. I don't know. People have their certain ways of talking about things, I guess, but I think there's some secrets that boil down to concepts which can't be explained but only understood. You know what I mean? So that's how I learned to correlate Mush and Sarah together. And I don't know, I feel like that was a lot of words. But important context for me to have covered because now it all, I don't know, the circumstances will probably feel right later in order for me to talk about other things. Who knows? I also have ADHD and autism, which is fun. Maybe I'll have something completely different to talk about. I have no idea, but I'll be talking to the phone at any rate. Okay. Bye.